Hello, my name is Tyler. I know I haven't uploaded a while on this channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the artwork Multitudes by Norman Wilfred Lewis. Now this isn't your regular art review. Instead, this is going to be English class, I'll say in parentheses, level. A deep analysis into this artwork. So if you're for an art review, you may want to click off now, but if you really want a deep dive into Multitudes, which has very deep in a thorough meaning, then continue on. Norman was born in Harlem, New York, which was a historically redlined black neighborhood. If you don't know what that means, it's basically where a neighborhood, usually of poorer status, rented out to black neighborhoods, while the white neighborhoods would be generally better. He was raised during the Harlem Renaissance, which was a time of black art genres such as jazz and later abstract expressionism really took hold. He trained with a famous sculptor, Augusta Savage. If you don't know her, you can search her up. He faced many racial barriers in his life. Brief overview of his career: he started painting in 1920. He was really the black abstract expressionist when the movement was taking place in the 1940s. He started as social realism, and he pivoted away in 1941, mainly due to the start of World War II. Among other factors, of course, he was fully embroiled in the abstract expressionism movement by 1945. And due to the racism I mentioned earlier, he wasn't able to make a full living just by selling off his painting. He's more of a niche black artist compared to his white peers. So as you can see, he joined many art institutes and cheaper art schools to not only support himself but to help others. He had many famous paintings, well over 500. His career was between the 1930s and 1970s. Here are some of his other relatively famous art collection. Harlem Turns White, I believe, was about the KKK uprising in some parts of Harlem. Don't quote me on that. And Processional was another painting about the race conflict in New York City in the 1960s. And what is abstract expressionism? This genre of art originated in New York between the end of the World War II to the start of Cold War. That's 1940s and 1950s. It was really a mix between social realism and surrealism because traditional art felt inadequate after the atrocities and mass killings after World War II. Alright, so surrealism is about the art depicting a social or political climate. As you can see in the picture, surrealism is about depicting the human depicting inner human thoughts, like the deep subconscious thoughts of man. In abstract expressionism, this genre combined. I want you to pause this video here to really analyze this painting. And what I want you to do is I want you to grab a piece of paper and write 1 or 2 sentences. There's no wrong answers, anything about what you think this painting really means. Obviously, as you can see, this painting really uses a dark background and is almost like a window of bright colors in a window silhouette of darkness. So first talking point is obviously the dark background. This represents an anxious, somber, and unsettling atmosphere. As black and deep red hues are dominant in this painting, and this directly represents the bleak, chaotic, and really uncertain climate post World War II. And all of the dark colors represents the violence and bloodshed that accumulated in the atrocities of World War II. Now, I want you to take a deeper look of the color mixing of this painting as I go on to my next point. Now, from the foreground and really in the center position of this painting, you can see warm white, orange, and red strokes, and this represents light, and in this case hope, cutting through the dark black fields or the dark desolate battlefields post World War II. And although this resistance is visible through the cracks of darkness, the future is still in large parts uncertain and unpredictable. As you can see, this painting, in fact, there's some blurriness, in fact, between the colors. There's a blurriness in the transition between the dark hues and the light hues, which further represents the chaos and uncertainty of the climate of this painting. As I was talking about with the political climate, I wanted to touch up on the really symbolic white strokes of this painting. Each individual white stroke represents the millions of blacks. I want you to emphasize blacks, Jews, disabled, and other marginalized voices in this world. This represents a world where all of these marginalized voices have a voice, and they're not just represented equally, but are leading a collective push towards a better world. Now, another detail I want to mention, I touched upon this before, that I didn't include was really a window-shaped painting. You can go back to when I showed you the whole painting, but the bright hues and the white lines are in the middle of the painting, and the darker hues are generally on the corners of the paintings, which represents this painting is really a look towards a brighter future, and that we should forget, but we shouldn't forget, but we should build off this horrible world war that just happened. Here's my final thesis statement. By painting a chaotic landscape of dark reds and blacks as a background and fracturing the chaotic landscape using luminous white, yellow, and red warm strokes as the foreground, Norman Lewis' multitude serves to represent the collective resistance of the overlooked and marginalized, who, despite a world desecrated by violence and bloodshed, press emphatically towards a better future. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you.